Samsung did not mean to do this, but they just confirmed almost everything. After months of rumors, blurry renders, and endless speculation, the Galaxy S26 Ultra has finally crossed the line from leaked to basically official. And the wild part is that Samsung themselves are the reason we now know the truth. If you have been following Galaxy leaks, even a little, you already know the S26 series has been surrounded by design rumors for a long time. Almost every reliable source kept saying the same thing. Big design change, new camera layout, a more unified look across the lineup. But until now, all of that was still based on third-party renders and insider whispers. And as good as those sources are, there's always room for doubt. That doubt is gone. This week, Android Authority discovered internal Samsung renders hidden inside a One UI 8.5 test firmware. These are not marketing images. These are not concept art. These are internal reference renders meant for Samsung's own engineers and developers. And because of that, they're far more trustworthy than anything we've seen so far. Inside that firmware were clear visuals for the entire Galaxy S26 lineup. The standard S26, the S26 Plus, and the S26 Ultra. Internally, Samsung labels these devices as M1, M2, and M3. And those model identifiers match earlier leaks that tied the entire lineup to something Samsung internally calls the Miracle Project. What matters most is what these images show. Samsung is officially moving away from the separate floating camera rings that defined recent Galaxy flagships. The Galaxy S26 Ultra, along with the rest of the lineup, now uses a single unified camera island. It's a pill-shaped bump that houses all the lenses together. Each camera still has its own circular cutout, but they're no longer floating independently on the back glass. This is a major visual shift. For years, Samsung leaned heavily into the floating lens look. It was clean, it was minimal, and it became instantly recognizable, but also had drawbacks. It made the phones look busy. It created uneven surfaces, and it didn't always age well once camera modules got larger. With the Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung is clearly prioritizing cohesion over minimalism. The new camera island feels intentional. It feels structured. And most importantly, it aligns the Ultra with the rest of Samsung's premium devices. This design is not new for Samsung. In fact, it mirrors what the company has been doing on the Galaxy Z Fold lineup since 2021. Those devices already use a unified camera housing. By bringing that same design language to the Galaxy S series, Samsung is finally creating visual consistency across its most expensive products. That consistency matters. When a brand reaches this level of maturity, design language becomes just as important as specs. Apple understands this. Samsung clearly does too. The Galaxy S26 Ultra no longer feels like a separate experiment. It feels like part of a larger ecosystem. And that ecosystem direction becomes even clearer when you look at the software. According to the same leaks, the entire Galaxy S26 lineup will launch with One UI 8.5 out of the box. This is Samsung's customized version of Android 16. That's a big deal because it means Samsung is planning tighter hardware and software integration from day one. For existing Galaxy S25 owners, One UI 8.5 is expected to enter beta very soon. That gives us a preview of what the S26 series will feel like. And early signs point toward refinement rather than reinvention. Cleaner animations, smarter system behaviors, better performance tuning, and deeper AI integration across the OS. Now let's talk specifically about the Galaxy S26 Ultra. While the internal renders are rough and clearly not meant for public eyes, they do reveal subtle but important changes to the Ultra's shape. If previous leaks are accurate, Samsung is finally softening the Ultra design. The sharp, boxy corners inspired by the old Galaxy Note line are being rounded off. This is not accidental. For years, the Ultra stood apart because it was basically a Note in everything but name. Sharp edges, squared-off corners, a serious, industrial feel. Some people love that. Others found it uncomfortable and outdated. The Galaxy S26 Ultra looks like Samsung is trying to meet in the middle. It keeps the premium presence. It keeps the large display. It keeps the S Pen identity. But it brings the design closer to the rest of the Galaxy S family. More rounded corners. A smoother silhouette. A phone that looks powerful without looking aggressive. That's a smart move. Phones are no longer just tools. They're objects people hold for hours every day. Comfort matters. Balance matters. And Samsung seems to have realized that the Ultra doesn't need to look extreme to be premium. What really locks all of this in is the source of the leak. This did not come from a case maker. It did not come from a supply chain rumor. It came from Samsung's own firmware. That's about as close to confirmation as you can get without an official press release. Once internal assets exist, the design is finalized. Samsung does not casually change hardware layouts this late in development, which means the guessing game is officially over. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is committing fully to this new camera design, and it's committing to a unified look across the lineup. In my opinion, this is one of the most important Galaxy design shifts in years. Not because it's flashy, but because it shows maturity. Samsung is no longer chasing trends. They are refining their identity. The new camera island looks more premium. It looks more deliberate, and it solves several practical issues at the same time. Fewer dust traps, better structural support, more room for internal hardware improvements. Combine that with One UI 8.5, improved ergonomics, and Samsung's continued focus on AI and performance, and the Galaxy S26 Ultra is shaping up to be a very balanced flagship. Not radical, not experimental, but confident. And honestly, that's exactly what the Ultra should be at this point. A device that feels finished. A device that feels intentional. A device that doesn't need gimmicks to stand out. If Samsung executes well on performance, battery life, and camera improvements, the Galaxy S26 Ultra could easily become one of the most well-rounded Android flagships ever released. This leak didn't just show us a phone. It showed us Samsung's direction. And now that the design is essentially confirmed, the focus shifts to what really matters. How it performs, how it feels, and whether Samsung can deliver on the promise this design represents. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with others, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the latest Samsung leaks and updates.